Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about Dr. Voodoo because he is one of the 6 rebirth champions, and so far I have spoken about Sabertooth, I have spoken about Night Thrasher as champions. Absolutely not great, not worth the effort or time investment, and I have referred to them as champions that I probably played for the last time in foreseeable future. Now, Dr. Voodoo is not necessarily one of those champions, because Dr. Voodoo can potentially have significant endgame purposes, because he does have immensely good power control on his level 2s, and there are meta matchups that he can do. Now, there are still issues with Dr. Voodoo that we're going to go around with, but Dr. Voodoo kind of squarely lies in the middle of my list, thereabouts. I know some people will pick him because they like him, and I know some people will potentially have good use out of him. I am also not going to be one of those people. I will not be choosing Dr. Voodoo from the selector, and I do have my reasons for that. But before that, let's just break him down. He absolutely needs to be awakened, by the way, and as high sig as possible, even though his sig scaling is quite awful, but it still helps him quite a bit. So you do want to get him awakened. Unawakened, he's kind of borderline unplayable, in my opinion. And then, what you need to know about him is that he's a mystic attacker that can buff the opponent by himself effectively. Primary uses poison as his damage, and if you do go for his level 2 rotations, obviously, you can have some premium power control. He plays all around odd and even combo, adjusting some of his abilities depending on whether his combo is odd or even. That said, my personal issues with Dr. Voodoo have always, number one, been his dashback. Ever since Dr. Voodoo kind of came out and I really liked him, I just noticed that I got flipped more with Dr. Voodoo than any other champion, and his super short dashback is kind of at fault there, so positioning with him is a bit odd at times, to say the least. And then the second thing is that the matchup that he does, I just think plenty of other champions can do better, and I'm not really interested in investing in one-way Mystic offensive champion, because that is kind of like what's filling the top of Mystic classes already. If you take a look at the top Mystic champions, like Kushala, Shatra, Chavez, and Tigra, and so on and so forth, almost all of them are offensive-only Mystic attackers, so that is not what I currently kind of need. But let's first take a look at his rotation, and then see where we go from there. You can use him in multiple different ways. What I find to be kind of like the best personally, effectively, is depending on how many laws you apply, I suppose, is either to throw your level 1 initially to nullify the first buffs, or build up to your level 2 to immediately start power controlling the opponent. Again, that kind of depends on the length of the fight, because when you do activate your level 2, you want it to have at least 3 laws on opponent. Because if you do that, you get 3 stacks of this green buff on you, and every hit power drains the opponent more than the power you give them. And this is kind of like the key to his ideal rotation, in a sense, where you can spam heavy attacks to drain your own power and inflict laws on opponent for each heavy attack. And here we can see I got 7 poisons, and now I can effectively do the same thing again, and we can spam quite a few heavy attacks because of the power control, and he's up to 6 laws already, and I can just activate my level 1 to nullify them, get again full bar of power, and kind of rinse and repeat. The big problem with this rotation is it's not safe in Alliance 1 and Battlegrounds, because Stand Your Ground Mastery exists, and that can completely ruin this, because he does have a single hit heavy attack, and if somebody has maxed out Stand Your Ground Mastery, that effectively means that there's a 50-50% chance they will resist when you start chaining each heavy attack, and that is not good odds. This is very fun to showcase in champion videos, but realistically, you can't really get away with doing this. And that, in my experience, kind of means that in the matches where opponent does have access to Stand Your Ground Mastery, you typically will be forced to throw more level 2s whether you want it or not, and that can complicate things. Now, obviously, you can say that with Dr. Voodoo, maybe Mystic Dispersion 5 is too much, and some people do run less. But again, I don't think he's the champion I would adjust my Mystic Dispersion preference solely for. Because I do think potentially with slightly less Mystic Dispersion, especially in some matchups, could be easier to manage his power without the reliance on the heavy spam. But I don't, again, necessarily think it's worth changing that out. But here we can see, so that is Dr. Voodoo effectively doing his thing, spamming his level 2s, consistently power draining the opponent, and throwing level 1s. You can also play him in a way where opponent never gets to throw a special attack after your initial level 2, for instance. That's kind of cool. And there you go. However, even playing like this, which I would consider to be like aggressive damage-based playstyle, that's 2 minutes and 35. And now we're going to bring up somebody that we don't really consider to be a super high efficiency damage dealing champion. And that's, let's say, Purgatory. Purgatory is more of a ramp-up champion. Again, wouldn't characterize her as like super high damage dealer, especially in kind of like short and medium fights. And let's see how Purgatory does. I'm using Purgatory because she just happened to be a 6-star rank 3. And again, this is a matchup where Purgatory has no innate advantage. Her neutralizers do nothing, and her, kill ability in this fight absolutely does nothing as well. And I'm not even playing her the best, to be honest. I should have used a bit more Incinerates, and I didn't give her a Relic, which is also quite helpful for Purgatory. And Purgatory will still outdamage him quite convincingly. But okay. So now let's take a look at some of his matchups. His best matchup, probably the most used one, is going to be Dark Phoenix. He is a solid Dark Phoenix counter, even though I do want to show something cool there, but whatever. Against Serpent, however, again, that matchup is not necessarily as straightforward as most people would think. Because you do want to, gain your power control as quickly as possible, obviously. And you also want to be doing, poison damage in order to finish the fight relatively quickly. And here, again, I found myself at a point where I need to throw those heavy attacks, but I can't really spam them because, again, I am afraid of resist, and then I just immediately get cooked. So now I have activated my level 2. I have access to power control, but my poisons have expired. So now I need to get back to less than 2 bars of power. And I would need to spam heavy attacks for that, but I can't really do that in this matchup. So what I'm going to go for is I am going to drop my level 2 in odd combo and do that again. And now I'm going to only regain my poisons, which I absolutely have to do. So again, there is kind of a bit of things to manage in this fight. That's what I'm going to call it. And overall, he does the job fine. This is 6-star rank 4 against, 6-star rank 3 against 7-star rank 4. And that is about as well as this fight can go, by the way. It's not, perfect. But we did finish with 100% health and 1 minute and 25. Right, now let's try out Purgatory. And again, Purgatory is not necessarily better Serpent counter, especially without the Relic. With Relic, it's easier to manage the final kind of phases there. But there are 2 distinct differences. Dr. Voodoo can fail Serpent's immortality as well if he's on odd combo, because he reduces opponent's ability accuracy by 50%. And then Purgatory can fail Serpent's immortality as well because of the neutralizes, and the more neutralized stacks you get there, the more potent that is. Ideally, you want to have all 10 or 9 stacks by the time Serpent would die, because then there's more chance. But if you get lucky, it took 38 seconds for us. If we get lucky with the neutralize stopping Serpent's immortality, and now there's going to be a fight of Purgatory not stopping the Serpent's immortality, which is again, about equally likely pending how long the fight is. If the fight's longer, then you're more likely to stop that immortality. Ideally, with Purgatory as well, I do want to weave in some medium combo finishers to power drain myself, because then I can get more stacks of neutralize up easier. And with Purgatory, the cool thing is you have a chance to fail that true accuracy buff, true focus buff. And that means that I can actually dex the special too and take no block damage from it. Because block damage here is kind of exaggerated because it's more potent than it would be, let's say, in Balrogans or Alliance Warfight. Either way, we have done this fight here less well than I did it in the initial round, but here we can see that Serpy is getting his immortality, and I do take more block damage than I normally should. This is kind of excessive, but it's still faster than the Voodoo did it. And here is going to be a random fight with like a champion that we definitely do not associate with super high damage output. And it's going to be Sorcerer Supreme. I'm going to effectively fast forward it a little bit. And again, this is not necessarily meant to speak ill of Dr. Voodoo, but just to compare him with some other Mystic champions that are not necessarily considered to be, let's say, great battlegrounds options for these matchups. Because again, Sorcerer Supreme exists as a 7-star for a long time. We don't really use her for much, if anything, in the game. And she's definitely capable of doing this fight also incredibly well with her regen on the block and nullifies and everything else. I guess what I'm trying to say is this kind of explains why I'm not picking Dr. Voodoo, or even if I pull him, why I'm not planning on investing a ton in Dr. Voodoo. Because in most of the matchups, I can effectively find champions that do the things Voodoo does kind of as well, if not better. The one good matchup that Dr. Voodoo has over most of the Mystic champions definitely is the Dark Phoenix. But again, in my experience, it might be a challenger rating thing, but this fight wasn't like super easy to record. I had to have a go a few times before I had like a good run like this, because if your lows don't apply early on, you kind of screwed a bit. But anyways, this is like his highlight matchup, and that's why I think Dr. Voodoo would be a very alluring pick a couple months ago, before Nico got released. I think now that we have Nico, and then we have a handful of other champions that are, you know, somewhat decently good against Dark Phoenix, I just don't think Dr. Voodoo is quite as needed, I would say. Here, it was like about perfect run. It was 50 seconds full health, but for the joke of it, for the fun of it, this has nothing to do with Dr. Voodoo itself. I just threw this fight in because I wanted to see how this would go. Now, this is a rank 4 man thing, by the way. This is the only rank 4 featured in this clip. All the other champions were rank 3, 6 stars. But I'm just saying, like, if you want a Dark Phoenix counter, you can go for Man Thing, man. Man Thing's gonna put in work in this matchup. So I want... There we go. Wonderful. I mean, my man is definitely putting in work here. And easy peasy. Won't drop that heavy before the immortality kicks in. Immortality kicks in, I get no flame. Now I just kind of want to wait it out. And it's not as good as Dr. Voodoo, I'll admit it, even with the rank up. Dr. Voodoo is better for Dark Phoenix. But still, hey, Man Thing is good. That was like 55 seconds, by the way. But yeah, this is like why people are attracted to Dr. Voodoo. I just don't think the rest of it is good enough. There is a bright side about the Dr. Voodoo, and that definitely is in the power control. Therefore, I do think for specific challenge fights, and for kind of like some specific alliance war fights, potentially, you know, with a power start 1 boost, where you can get to your level 2 very quickly. He potentially has some of the best power control in the game, and that will be valuable. So I do think there is an argument for Dr. Voodoo, because there will be... I can absolutely see times when Dr. Voodoo is like the best option for a tricky situation, or one of the best options for a tricky situation, kind of like the leader. Like, the leader is the type of champion that, you know, sits on the shelf for, you know, 2 months, and then he's going to be the best for something. I can see that being Dr. Voodoo as well. Ultimately, again, it's not going to be something I go for personally, again, from one of the selectors, but I can definitely see why some people would do. So let me know what you guys think of Dr. Voodoo buff, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye-bye! Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about